Welcome everybody to NAB Stadium in Auchenflower as the QBL Quarterfinals tip off. The matchup tonight is the Rockhampton Cyclones the Rockets versus the Brisbane Capitals. I'm John Guarna, joined by Dave Derwin, Dan George. Guys, it's 1 versus 8, but I'm not sleeping on Rockhampton tonight, boys.
No, I don't think you should either. And like we talked about in the last few weeks as the season's wound down, any of those top 8 teams are certainly capable of doing so. Rockhampton got them a couple of weeks ago. That was obviously without Aaron Anderson playing, and Rocky's a tough place to win. But I think they showed that they think they're comfortable and they have a chance.
Rockhampton, Dan, is coming in the AC. They needed to win last weekend to get into the finals. They have a bit of momentum. What do you think of the Rockhampton team tonight?
Well, in a way, it's a great situation for them because they can come in full of confidence, having beaten Brisbane a couple of weeks ago, obviously despite who I think is the league MVP, Aaron Anderson, not playing. But still, they got to win against this team, so they know how the Caps are going to play. And when you're the 8th seed, no one really expects you to win, so they can come in with no pressure. And the thing that they do have on their side is a couple of pretty handy bigs. And if the Capitals do have any weaknesses, it is the bigs. And they do a great job of team defense, which will hopefully take a lot of the presence of those big guys away. But if Rockhampton can knock down perimeter shots and give those bigs room, they're a chance. But I do expect Brisbane to win.
It was a big win for Rockhampton a couple weeks back over Brisbane. It was 93-82 up in Rocky. Like you said, it was without Aaron Anderson. Rockhampton got a really well-balanced attack. Rashad Hassan was the league player of the week that week with a 27 and 15 double-double. What do you expect from Hassan tonight for Rockhampton?
Well, we've talked a little bit about matchups in playoffs, and I also like the coaching element because this is where the coaches earn their money too, right? It's what adjustments can they make in the first quarter through to the fourth quarter and over the next few weeks in order to get the win. I really like the matchup, and it'll be interesting to see if they're going to do with Onwes and Carter in the front court for Rockhampton and who's going to guard who, because I think Rocky's got a little bit of a mismatch possibly depending on who Wagner guards, and then equally Hassan we've seen a couple times, and he's a really super efficient, effective scorer, so it'll be really interesting to see who Brisbane goes with defensively.
Well, that's going to be one of the interesting matchups. The matchup I'm looking forward to, Dan, is in the backcourt with Aaron Anderson and Chris Fowler. Fowler had a pretty good game in that win against the Capitals, but how do you defend a guy like Aaron Anderson? He is your league MVP. There's a lot of other people out there who think he might be the MVP as well.
Well, we've spoken in the past about Sean Bruce and Mackay and all these other teams up north in Cairns, and we have a lot of great players in this league, so picking one as the MVP is tough, but I just think in his 3rd season in this Capital system, it's very rare for an American to come over here and play in a system like what Jeff runs. The college systems are so structured and organised. You come over here and you're freelancing, but in his 3rd year, I think he's really comfortable playing in this style, and I just think that having lost in the finals at home last year to Cairns, I think they've come back, and him specifically with Dusty, have come back on an absolute mission, and I expect Aaron to be massive throughout these finals.
How do you think Rockhampton matches up with the Capitals, Dave? It's Rockhampton comes in, like we said, in that 8th spot, but to me, they're not a traditional 8th seed, really. They're a pretty dangerous group.
Well, you know, and again, they beat Brisbane 3 weeks ago. They beat Cairns last weekend. I mean, you'd argue they're 2 of the best teams in the league. So I think confidence is sky high. And let's be honest, other than probably Rockhampton and maybe Cairns, in my personal opinion, the other home courts don't really mean much to me. You know, they don't really intimidate you so much. But I think those 2 courts have a bit of something to them. And so, you know, coming down to Auchenflower, it's a great place to play. It doesn't intimidate me about the Caps' home, so to speak. So I think they're super confident. I agree. I think they've got 5 or 6 guys who can go. And then you've got the young brothers as well. We saw them earlier in the season, and they were really good, and they've had a bit of in and out all season, but equally they're capable of coming in and helping. So
they've got to knock down shots. That's the key.
They do, yeah.
And we're talking about the Christensen brothers. Their minutes have gone down as this rotation has settled for Rockhampton. Take a quick break for the anthem. We'll come back with some more analysis. That was an awesome rendition of the Australian national anthem. Well done. I wish I had the singer's name, but guys, let's get back to what we're here for, and that is the men's quarterfinal matchup between the Brisbane Capitals and the Rockhampton Rockets. We talked a lot about Rockhampton. Let's talk about Brisbane, guys. They had a lot of expectations were quite low for the Capitals coming into the season. A lot of people weren't really high on the Capitals. They made it through the regular season, finished at the top of the ladder. They do have home court advantage. What do the Capitals need to do to pull off this win tonight?
I think we've talked about it. I mean, we've had a few Brisbane games this year, so we're pretty familiar with their style. And for me, it's if it ain't broke, they're okay. They're moving the ball well. They share the ball well. I think they've made some offensive adjustments in that flex system that's created a little bit more creativity for the Andersons and the Onwests of the world. So I think, they're certainly balling and probably the team to beat, in my opinion, for these finals. So it's much of the same. Interestingly, though, last week we covered a game and Davis was a non-factor and then Onwest was a bit quiet. So you can take guys out, and I think as Anderson goes, so goes the Cap. So that would be one of my key focuses, would be how I'm going to limit Anderson's work.
Bit bright, those lights, eh? Dan, you like the Capitals in this one, I know, but tell us why you like the Capitals in this matchup.
As a crew last week during our broadcast, we stuttered our way when we were trying to make a prediction. So I feel obligated to make a call, and I think the Caps are the 2017 champs, not only tonight, but obviously in terms of taking the title out at the end of the year. And there's a few key reasons for it. I've been slightly critical, you could say, of the system that they run, but I just think that Jeff has made a few adjustments this year, and Aaron Anderson is unstoppable. And if he is healthy and doesn't have any injuries, which obviously we hope he doesn't, if he's healthy, I think he carries the offense. I think Dusty Reichert, if this is his last year, and I really hope it's not because he's playing so well still, but if it is, I think he's going to make sure that Brisbane ends a 15-year title drought and they go out, or he goes out as a champ. And the reason that we didn't pick him, at least I didn't pick him top 4 preseason, was they lost a few key guys, but Princeton Onwest, to me, has been the perfect replacement. And because he is such quality, I think when you put Reichert, Anderson, and Onwest together, plus these other role players, I think they're going to get the job done. And Jeff's system is what it is, but I think one thing that is really underestimated with Jeff's coaching is the mental, motivational aspect that he brings to it. And I hope no one's too thin-skinned with these names I mentioned, but like the Seb Windsors and the Kopsikases and these guys, if you saw them walking into the stadium tonight, you wouldn't think they were top-line QBL players, but Jeff instills this belief into them that makes them play like top-line QBL players. And I think when you add that mentality to the 3 studs they've got, I think it's going to be enough, especially with home court advantage, to get the job done throughout the playoffs.
Dave, you said the Caps are the favorite. Are they your pick to win tonight and go on to the grand finals?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting too. I mean, I was talking to Zach Carter before the game, and he equally thinks if they do what they need to do, they'll win convincingly, in his opinion, which is what I'd like to hear from the captain. But I equally think they're not a really 8 seed, and so I wouldn't be surprised if Rocky pushed this all the way. And as long as it's in a reasonable ball game, they got guys like Hassan and Fowler, and those two can ball. So they're certainly going to be in a game.
So you're going to make a prediction?
I think Brisbane win tonight. Did I not say that at the start? Sorry.
I think Rocky will keep it close for 2.5, 3 quarters, but I think in the end Brisbane's depth will come out. The one final thing before we tip it off, Jake Davis off the bench. I hope and I expect him to have a coming out party in this final series as a QBL player. He's been good but not great in years past. I think he's going to step up and elevate himself in the finals.
Well, let's see. We're underway here, and Brisbane has possession of the ball. They'll have the first opportunity. Reichert jumper is wet. That's a good sign for Brisbane early. They're up 2-0. Then a steal. Reichert has it, goes to the rim. Layup is good. Dusty Reichert gets the roll. Pretty hot start from the Capitals. Force a turnover.
And that's what you don't want. I mean, you want to ease into the game as far as, trade buckets, move the ball, get some guys shots. But you don't want to get Brisbane all excited and up by 8 and 10 and they feel good about themselves. Good reply from Lopez.
Well, that's what Rockhampton need to do. Just stay calm, not let the noise of the crowd or Brisbane's speed influence them, and just stay to their game. And I think any team that plays the Capitals has to try and grind it out for 14, 15 seconds and get good shots and be able to knock down the 3-point shot. But good signs from Dusty Reichert early. It just settles the nerves for Jeff and his team when you see the leader step up and make a couple of buckets early.
Lopez is going to have a green light here tonight.
And he's one you need to watch. I mean, he could easily go for 25. You know, he's very capable. Another good look. Wagner hits the glass hard, which is exactly where Brisbane's going to be. One of their weaknesses is their rebounding ability. So how they defensive rebound is going to be critical.
Onwis going to fire a three-pointer himself. That rolls off. Hassan comes down with it. Mitchell using the body, can't bank it home. Hassan with the rebound and put back. That's a big offensive rebound and a worrying sign here early for the Caps. Reichart with the bucket and the foul. Taking it back to the old school, week in and week out, Dusty Reichart.
Yeah, he's been terrific. The first couple of minutes, been really aggressive. And again, a veteran play. Hassan being a little lazy, if we're honest. Sort of a bit half-assed defensive effort, just giving up a simple M1 either. If you're going to give a foul up, don't let him score the bucket as well.
Well, Dusty Reichart has all 7 for Brisbane. It's not at that 7. Mitchell nearly lost it. There's Hassan on the baseline, lays it in. Strong bucket there for Hassan as well.
Yeah, good signs early from Rocky. Johnny, they're getting good opportunities in the paint.
Anderson has it in the corner. Fowler guarding him. Finds Kopskas. Fadeaway is up and short. And Mitchell kicks ahead for Fowler. He's going to step into a 3. That's off, side of the rim. Kopskas in the corner now, three-pointer short. Anderson tips it. Fowler recovers it for Rockhampton. Baseline, good cut. It's stripped though by Kopskas. Onwis with the in and out dribble, banks it in. Nice move there from Princeton. Onwis, we're tied at 9.
Brisbane is so good in transition. I think Rocky, if they're going to have a chance tonight, have to try and make it a half-court game. So that means they've got to really look after the ball, because those turnovers of Brisbane running downhill the other way going to be tough to guard for 40 minutes.
Carter reverse layup is good. The teams are trading buckets. This is at Brisbane's pace, though, very up and down.
Well, it is, and to Dan's point, you know, that's where Brisbane excels in transition. Equally, Rocky's D-trans is horrible to start the ball to start the game.
Well, that bucket for Zach Carter there was off a make for Rocky. So it's one thing to it's one thing to give up turnovers and see Brisbane trans, but on a made bucket to give up a layup is not good signs. But Wagner crashing the glass, doing his work, and I know Zach Carter wants love from us, but he does not look too happy with a couple of the calls early. But
well, Brisbane at the moment struggling to keep Rockhampton off the offensive glass. That's their 3rd offensive rebound, and they've put 2 of those offensive rebounds right back in for the bucket. That's an N1 for Wagner. He completes the 3-point play, and they're up 3 now.
And again, most of it's coming off, you know, sort of ducking in from weak side action, which is where the pack defense for Brisbane is a bit susceptible to get those little cheap rebounds, Johnny.
I'm always surprised at the number of teams that go zone against the Capitals. And Rocky in a 3-2 zone there, they've got to be really careful, because I think the Brisbane offense loves playing against the zone defense.
Stripped by Anderson. He's putting the Jets on. James Mitchell contesting. Anderson, though, flips it in. And that's what Anderson does. He's got to be the quickest guy with the ball in his hands in the QBL.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just sloppy from Rocky early on with just trying to move the ball around, a really easy pass that they just can't have careless turnovers like that.
Fowler's 3 rattles home. And there's that patience, though, like you say, fellas, you ball reversal, you're going to get a good look against the Caps.
Yeah, and Fowler was terrific against the Pirates. I think, what did he have, Johnny? Like high 30s or something? He was unstoppable, so certainly a class import.
And again, we saw Rockhampton against Toowoomba. They had that unsettled roster. They've added Rashad Hassan, who gets the hook shot to fall. Coach Tarrant wants a timeout. He's going to get one. Good timeout here for Brisbane, guys. They're down 6, but it doesn't really look like the Caps we've come to know so far to start the game.
I think it's normal to be a little bit nervous to start a game, so I'm not overly worried if I'm a Capitals fan or player at the moment down 6. I think that's okay. What Rocky are doing a good job of, we all know that on any post entry, doesn't matter who's posting up, the Capitals, if it's caught on the mid-block, they're going to double the post. And so it's good to see from Rocky's point of view, Wagner on that particular occasion gets the ball in the post. He's not trying to make a move. He knows he's now the point guard.
Yeah.
He's doubled and he's looking, and they've got guys cutting, Hassan in that case, who walks into a nice easy hook shot. So if they can move the ball and be aware like that, they're going to have to force Brisbane into adjustments.
And they have the Fowlers and Lopez spotting up on that weak side kick as well. So they've got good floor balance at the moment. And defensively, Brisbane's got heat on the ball, but down low is where they're suffering a little bit.
Rockhampton doing a good job on both ends of the court. Transition-wise, if you're Coach Tarrant, what are you telling the Caps in this timeout? We saw him go to the bench, and here comes Jake Davis. He's going to check in, looks like, for Zach Carter. Maybe looking for a little more offense out of his group.
Well, I don't think offense is the problem. I think defensively they're losing sight of guys down this end. Again, a lot of heat on the ball, but they're failing to find guys, coming in and crashing the glass. So, although Davis gives you some good offense, he's another slight athlete. So, let's see if Rockhampton can punish them on the offensive glass.
Well, Jake Davis gives you a lot of energy, hopefully.
Great look from Hassan. Wagner can't finish it, though. Kopskas finds Onwis in the corner. Gets inside. He's fouled on his way to the basket. Basket won't count. Second team foul on Rockhampton.
I think Wagner's had about 20 or 30 kilo on Jake Davis, and he was a bit surprised the ball rolled out down the other end.
There's Jake Davis. His wing three is too strong. Princeton Onwis chases down the offensive rebound. Now Anderson, top of the key three. That's good from Aaron Anderson. Cuts the lead to 3.
Just rhythm jump shot for him. All net. Again, that baseline action is killing Brisbane in the first quarter.
Good recognition there by Rockhampton, and a nice strong move there by Rashad Hassan.
Just that that short corner, weak side base has really been suspect.
Kopska's corner 3 is an air ball. Fowler drives baseline, keeps his dribble alive. Really nice patience here from Rockhampton. Good extra pass. Lopez 3 is short though. He gets his own rebound, goes inside, it's nearly stolen. Onwis jumps and grabs it, gets down and dirty. Maybe that's a spark the Capitals need. Good ball movement. Davis, corner 3 is off. And then Mitchell loses the ball out of bounds. He was looking for the foul call. He doesn't get it though. Seb Windsor checks in for Kopsikas. 3:25 to go in the first. Rockhampton up 5. Davis going to fire on from the opposite wing, too strong.
Brisbane's got a lot of really good shooters, we know that. But what Rocky are doing is forcing them into nothing but jump shots. There's not much going towards the rim for the Capitals at the moment, which most weeks doesn't bother them. But if they're not going down, makes Rocky's defense look pretty good.
Fowler can't get the bucket, but he's fouled, so he's going to go to the line for 2 shots. You kind of referenced it there, Dan. I like what Rockhampton's doing on both ends of the court, showing patience offensively, but especially defensively. They're not allowing that dribble penetration, and that's really where Brisbane is most effective, when they're catching and shooting off the penetration.
Yeah, and kick. Sorry, Dan.
Well, Brisbane usually go like 1 or 2 ball reversals and then attack, and they're penetrating and kicking, and they're doing that, but the shots are not going down, and equally there's nothing that Rocky are allowing at the rim. So they're doing a great job defensively. The challenge obviously is for 8 minutes, that's great. But for 40 minutes, that's the tough part that most teams have a challenge of maintaining throughout the game. But equally, offensively, Rocky's moving the ball really well too. And after their own second or third reversal, they're getting opportunities to go to the rim, post entries to Wagner's and Hassan and these guys. And offensively looking good. 22 points in 8 minutes is great. And it's not unlike Brisbane to give that up. So Rocky would be feeling good, but like 2, maybe 3 quarters, you can hang with the top teams. It's can you do that for 4 quarters, and that's their challenge.
Fowler at the rim, can't get it to fall, but he's fouled again.
And you know, you both talked about you know, mixing up how you're going to score, and again, Fowler's getting to the foul line, which is great. So it's not all about jump shots and offensive rebounds. They're mixing it up well, and Fowler's just taking what the defense has given him.
And it lets them set their D too. So make or miss this second foul shot, Brisbane aren't trans-offensing.
Yeah.
They're coming into a hopefully set Rockhampton defense. But
just yeah, I mean, I think, you know, like we talked about, it's similar to Cairns last year, where Cairns came in hot, won games at the end of the season, and equally, it's looking a little bit like the grand final performance where Cairns is, you know, Rockies looks really comfortable with his Brisbane defense.
That was the third personal foul there on Jake Davis. Picked up 3 quick ones in his short time on the court. That's the 4th team foul for Brisbane with 2:39 to go in the first quarter. So Zach Carter checks back in. We also have Andrew Oleknowitz on the court for Caps.
And that hurts, obviously. I reckon Jake, like I said in the pregame, I think he's going to have a big finals, but he can't if he's on the bench with 3 fouls. But that's not his fault. That's his big giving up an offensive rebound on a foul shot, which led to his foul.
Onwes steals it, goes right at the defense. Layup is good. I was looking for the jam. I'll take the finger roll. 22-18 the lead here for the Rockets. Got 2:15 to go. Fowler skips it to Lopez. There's 8 on the shot clock now. Lopez going to stop and pop. It's short.
Well, Corrigan's got to do a better job, Johnny, of moving the ball around the perimeter. I mean, the whole world knew he was just going to throw the ball to the left.
Princeton Onwes deep. 3 is too strong. Good rebound there by Lopez. He's double teamed. Now up ahead to Corrigan. He pops. A lot of contact. Can't finish. Ball saved by Princeton Onwes.
I thought it was a foul,
Yeah,
and they grabbed the net. I
that's
thought either way it was a Rocky bucket.
That's a rough no call.
Hey, Coach Tweedy can't believe it. You can see the look on his face.
Well, I mean, he got almost in the air. It's either a goaltending or a foul all day.
Here's Windsor at the free throw line. Gets it out to Carter. His wing 3 is up. That's short. Corrigan fighting for it. Onwes recovers it. Oleknowitz driving baseline, throws up the reverse, that's off. Fowler working against Seb Windsor. We're under a minute to go in the quarter. It's a 4-point lead for Rockhampton. There's 8 on the shot clock now. Fowler on the right wing, working against Windsor. He's got 4. Drives baseline, shot is up, it's off, but he's fouled. Looks like that one's going to go against Princeton Onwes. And Fowler going to go to the free throw line. He struggled a bit from the charity stripe so far, fellas. He's only one of 3. Onwes going to get a breather. Anderson checks back in with just under 44 seconds to go in the quarter.
Well, it's good for Fowler, too, to get to the line, see the ball going in a few times. Especially for someone like him, where, to Dan's point, he can share the ball and facilitate early on. But in the 4th quarter, against the Pirates in particular, he just simply took over. And so I think as long as he's got his eye in and getting everyone involved, he's still really dangerous.
Fowler hit them both, so it's a 6-point lead now for Rockhampton. Christensen checks in, as does Wagner. 3-pointer by Lamb is off. Corrigan comes down with it. That's Damon Christensen, who has it stolen by Anderson.
That was an amazing pass from Mitchell, and equally as amazingly quick hands from Anderson.
And there's about a 2-second differential between the game and shot clock, so Anderson going to look to get the final shot off here for Caps. Windsor's fouled. That one's going to go on Fowler. It's only the third team foul for Rockhampton, so Brisbane now will be able to have the final shot of the first quarter. Anderson over to Carter. He'll fire the wing three. That's off. Wagner comes down with it, and at the break, fellas, it's a 6-point lead for Rockhampton. Quick thoughts on the first quarter, Dave?
Well, I think with my eye test, you know, Rocky was certainly has the lead, but they've been playing better balanced basketball. And in saying that, Brisbane's had plenty of good looks, so it's only a matter of making a few more, and we're talking about Brisbane. So,
Dan, your quick thoughts before we break?
I think both teams will be relatively happy and comfortable where it's at. I think you're right, Brisbane have missed shots that they usually would make. Rocky's playing really well, so you'd expect this for 2 or 3 quarters, and I think the fourth quarter Brisbane will eke it out. That's what I think is going to happen. We'll wait and see.
All right, well, it is the first quarter, and Brisbane trails Rockhampton 24-18 on your QBL Quarterfinal Game of the Week, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back with you here at NAB Stadium in Auckland Flower. It's 24-18 at the quarter-time break. The Capitals are trailing Rockhampton. Taking a quick look at the stats, Dave. What are the stats telling you?
I'm going to throw it to my man Dan for a second here while I get my...
Well, Double D loves the stats. I'll talk for 1 second while you gather your thoughts. But the thing that stands out right away, without checking the rebounds or the turnovers, the Capitals are very uncharacteristic, 1 of 14 from three-point range. So they will do one or two things. They'll think back to last year's finals and get nervous and not shoot well tonight. Or the law of averages suggests that they'll start to knock down some shots and they'll be just fine. Hopefully for the Caps fans, it's the latter.
How about that high arcing floater there from Christensen, increasing the lead to 8? That was a nice bucket from
Yeah,
David.
well, Lamb did a good job of closing out on him, and Christensen got it up.
Anderson comes up with another steal.
Well, the other interesting stat for me, Johnny, is as Anderson just came up on song, the only reason they're in the game, as far as I'm concerned, is the 7 steals they've got.
So how many turnovers does Rocky have?
Seb Windsor too strong on that jump shot.
6 turnovers. Well, that was a 7th steal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 6 turnovers is too much. 24 for the game. I don't think Rocky can do that and get a win tonight. They want to keep turnovers to 15 or 16 max for the game.
Wagner double teamed. He got his own rebound though. Mitchell throws one up, gets it to fall, plus the foul.
That's an athletic finish too.
Yeah, he looks
number 23.
Mitchell looks like he was in the past for Cairns. I think he was carrying an injury coming into the season, but he looks really healthy now, which is good. And
Yeah.
he's always been a good NBN advocate too.
And shout out to James Mitchell. He reckons he has his worst games when we're covering him. Let's hope tonight for James that it's not one of those nights again. That was a great bucket and finish for him, plus the foul.
Well, the other thing too is, you know, Wagner's probably missed 6 to 8 points in gimmies. So, you know, you add in their potential 8 to 10 points under the rim, and Rocky's dominating at the moment.
James Mitchell completes the 3-point play. It's an 11-point lead here for Rockhampton. They're shutting out the Capitals to start this second quarter.
And this is where I think Onwus has to get back on the floor as well, just to make sure that within this flex system that Brisbane run, they're not going to go to any Here he comes on cue, but they're not going to go to any set plays as Wagner shows range.
Well, maybe he's too close.
14 points. 14 points. This is a dangerous position for the Capitals, but they're not going to come down and say, let's run this set to get a good look. They run their system every offense, which is why you need Reichart, Anderson, and Onwus on the floor together.
How about Olegnowicz? You forgot his name. He says, Dan, give me some love. He just hit that tough layup.
Well, he averages 35 a game on a Wednesday night. I know it's a lower league, but he does have the ability to score the ball, and a much-needed bucket for Brisbane in that case.
And then he comes up with the steal. Brisbane trailing by 12 here. Anderson running the show for the Capitals. There's Olegnowicz. He puts one up. That's off. Tipped around. Wagner comes down with it for Rockhampton. Fowler goes right at the defense and gets the bucket to fall. It's 14 here, fellas.
Well, it's really testing Brisbane's character at the moment. They haven't led to, haven't trailed too many times this season, and so this will be interesting to see what they have in this second quarter. And he's the kind of guy that you want to get hot.
Anderson missed the deep three.
Has Brisbane shot a foul shot yet that we can recall? Dusty Reichart had one.
Yeah, the AM1
is that the only one?
Yeah.
That's the only one.
I think that's one of the telling differences. I don't know how many Rocky has shot, but it's been quite a few. Rocky are getting looks at the rim. Brisbane are all jump shots, which is fine, but not when they're not making them. They've got to find ways to manufacture points if the jump shot's not there.
Rockhampton absolutely picking apart Brisbane here in the second quarter. It's a timeout on the floor, so we'll take one as well. 16 points to lead for Rockhampton over the Brisbane Capitals on the QBL Quarterfinals, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back with you here at NAB Stadium in Auckland Flower. 7:14 to go in the half. Brisbane down 16. Guys, we're chatting during the break there. Brisbane looks a bit rattled. What are they going to do out of this timeout? Or what are they talking about in the timeout? There's a few things they need to tighten up to cut down this deficit.
Yeah, well, generally, that will just get a Tarrant tirade around defensive energy and focus. And that's where they've been poor, to be frank, really bad. But offensively, I think they'll be okay as long as they keep moving the ball. And however, what I would like to see is guys focusing to get some shots. How am I going to get Anderson and almost some ball? And equally, how am I going to get Reichart moving? So they've got to go through their big three in order to offensively lead them back into the ball game.
It's a big bucket there from Onwus. Cuts the lead to 16. While we're here, just want to give a shout out to Big Joe and Coach Joey Wright down in Adelaide, tuning in to the QBL Quarterfinals. Guys, thanks for tuning in and thanks for your support as always. As Anderson gets called for a blocking foul as Rashad Hassan drives through the paint.
Those guys are very loyal supporters of our broadcast. They love your work, Johnny. One question I've got, I would love to get them on the hotline. If they could dial in, I don't know how to ask them. But with this three imports in the NBL, I don't know how flush of cash every team in the league is, but do they look at the Andersons and Onwuses? I can't even speak. Onwuses, the Andersons and the Hassans. Are any of these guys even on the radar for that third import spot for any NBL team, do you think? I'd love to know, because it's obviously a much bigger step up to the NBL from QBL, but some of these guys have got game, and it'd be great to see how that translates to the higher level.
Onwus couldn't come down with that offensive rebound. Brisbane's down 18.
Well, you've seen Kendall make the jump, Thunder. So I mean, obviously he was MVP in QBL and CBL, and then obviously with the Bullets, he made a positive impact.
One of the funny things too, I think everyone says Aaron Anderson, good player, but he's way too small.
Yeah.
But then you go, like, how tall is he? Like 5'10" maybe?
maybe.
Then you go, Isaiah Thomas, one of the best players in the NBA, is 5'9".
Yeah.
So is he too small? I don't know.
Mitchell takes a hard fall. Kopskis gets called for the trip. Looks like Mitchell might have hurt his back there a little bit. He's going to try and walk it off.
Tell you what, when you're up 18 on the road in the finals, your back feels all right after a fall like that.
And it's interesting too, Thunder, because obviously the game continues to evolve, and with the offense being as spread as it is, and his shooting ability and his playmaking ability, equally you'd like to think he's on their radar.
Well, you'd expect him to guard someone 90 feet every possession. Defensively, unless they just run him to the post, he should be able to hold his own. But anyway, we're digressing away from this pretty impressive Rockhampton performance. But I think for Brisbane, they're the top seed for a reason. They've been to a couple of grand finals in a row. We expect them to get to a third. As almost, that's what they need. To the rim action, get to the foul and put pressure on the defense.
That was honestly, I think that could have been their second or third chance in the quarter, not even in the quarter, in the half at the rim.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say before that hoop, they've got to just not panic. That's the first thing. You're down 19 a couple of minutes ago. Don't panic, fellas. Trust what we've been doing all year and know that they've made a run. We're going to make runs too. Especially
considering, that they shoot threes, as much as any other team in the league, and they get 3 or 4 in a row, and they can eliminate 12 points pretty quickly. So I equally think defensively is where they need to clean up their energy and start chipping away, have a reasonable goal, get it under 10 by the half, and then, three-quarter time, we're an even ball game and it's on.
Well, at the moment, the three-point shot, like you said, it's not falling for Brisbane. They're only 2 of 18 from 3, 11 of 34 overall. So over half of their shots have come from beyond the arc. A lot of that is due to the Rockhampton defense. Do you think Rockhampton is happy for them to continue to fire from 3?
Well, I think they are, as long as they're getting a decent hand up and reasonable closeouts. I mean, you want to run them off because Brisbane likes to have that dribble kick, try and make the extra pass, especially with Anderson and almost as the main playmakers and main decision makers. But like we just talked about, I want to see more of that from almost. In that little high post flash that they get action from, that's where he should be getting a catch, aggressively getting on the rim and looking to put Wagner on a poster.
Onward's going to go to the free throw line for a couple shots. Sorry, it was just the one. It was the end one. He hits it, so the lead is cut now. 16. Good ball movement here from Rockhampton. It's tipped out of bounds by Onwes. It's going to stay with Rocky with 9 seconds to go on the shot clock.
Yeah, good hands and better energy from the Capitals on that set then. And equally, nice patience from the Rockets. Moving the ball, getting the good swing, getting a couple of reversals.
Like, better move quickly. There's 2 on the shot clock. Lopez double teamed and stolen. That's better defense there from Brisbane. That's a shot clock violation. Good double. That's a tough double team at the top of the arc too.
Well, Lopez has got to be better with the ball at the top of the key there and not get caught. When they inbound the ball, there's only 8 seconds on the clock. Just got to have better awareness.
I'd like to see Fowler just keep it too with 8 seconds left. Let him create.
Onwes from the corner. He hits the 3 plus the foul. Lopez fouling Princeton Onwes. There's the energy lifting, boys. It's coming out of the arms, the legs, the body of Princeton Onwes.
Well, back-to-back silly mistakes from Lopez. Again, you don't want to get him back into the game by giving him 4-point plays and almost just coming off the 3-point play the previous possession.
Taking a quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard at the moment. Townsville up on Southwest 24-18. And the USC Rip on the road up 10, 38-28 over the Cairns Marlins. Lead here is 11 now for Rockhampton. Lopez is wide open in the corner. His three-pointer is too strong. Carter with the defensive rebound. Onwes again for 3. That one's too strong. Mitchell skips it over to Fowler. His left wing 3 is up and too strong. Now Onwes comes down with it. It's a 4-on-3. Carter's corner 3 is short. Fowler pulls it down for Rockhampton. Good control there by Fowler. Hassan jump shot is short. Another rebound there from Princeton Onwas. Kopsakis hands off for Reichard, who lays it in. It's back to single digits, and Coach Tweedy is going to take a timeout, so we'll take one as well. There's about 3:30 to go in the half. Rockhampton up 9, 41-32, and your QBL Quarterfinals presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. We're back here at NAB Stadium in Auchenflower. It's 41-32. We were talking in that timeout, guys. Looks like Rockhampton, are they gassed?
Well, there's a risk playing at the tempo the Capitals play that you can go for a couple of quarters, but eventually your lack of depth compared to what Brisbane has will hurt you. So I don't know if they're gassed or not, but I think they do need to be playing with a purpose, which is 15, 16-second offenses every possession, because if they get into the habit of going 6-7 seconds up and down the floor, by the time the fourth quarter comes around, they will be gassed, especially with the two bigs they've got.
Fowler nearly lost it. He's got 4 on the shot clock. Mitchell, fade away, banks it, it's off.
Well, you know, we talk about it getting after timeout plays, and that was a horrible set from Rockhampton, where they flat out got a shot up.
How was that bucket, though, from Onwas? He slipped down. It looked like there was contact. He still was able to finish. Lead is cut to 7 now. And the Brisbane defense has it going on. Anderson tries to dump it off. Mitchell, though, hustles and knocks it out of bounds.
I think Anderson was looking for Onwas. Onwas has been unbelievable the last few minutes. I think Anderson was trying to get it back to him for a finish, and that would have brought the roof off this place.
And I'm the defense from Brisbane, though, guys, it seems to have really locked in, where it's a bit loose to start. They really are packing it in and doing a better job on their defensive rotations.
And that's hands from Fowler saved the day on that possession, but I think that's Rockhampton's offense as well as it is Brisbane's defense. Yes, Brisbane deserve credit, but Rocky have gone away from what was working.
Fowler gets fouled on his way to the bucket. That's on Kopskis. That's his second personal. Chris Fowler is going to go to the free throw line for a couple shots. Fowler spent a bit of time at the charity stripe here so far tonight, guys. This is going to be his 7th and 8th attempt.
And we just talked off the air, Johnny. I think that's what Rocky need to do. I still think he needs to have a 30-point ball game for them to be successful tonight. Even though he's distributing the ball, I think they'll need it from him.
He's capable of it. We saw him score over 30 against Southwest.
And equally, I want to see Rockhampton run some more stuff for Hassan. I mean, he's a super efficient player. And generally, when he gets the ball on that weak side or a short corner, good things are happening.
And Rockhampton's gone back to the zone. It's a 1-3-1 zone. Reichardt's had a couple looks at the rim, hasn't been able to finish either of them. Lopez three-pointer is good. They got that ball in the post, and good things happen for Rockhampton.
Yeah, always that weak side kick is always on.
Kopska's going to step into a three. It's short. Onwas saves it, but Fowler steals his pass. Fowler dumps it off for Mitchell. Layup is good.
Great pass. Good answer from Rockhampton here the last few minutes. That timeout, their first play out of the timeout was probably their worst offensive set of the night, but they've settled the last couple of minutes with some good defensive efforts, and then they've closed out, scoring down the other end. Brisbane again struggling from the three.
Well,
Really struggling
defensively, Rocky, after that timeout, they've been really good and much more focused, and they've got the lead back out, whereas Brisbane did a great job cutting it back, but Brisbane was in a flow offensively, and Coach Tweedy's really put a clamp on it over the last couple of minutes.
Wagner spins into the double team. He's blocked by Reichart. Winds up with Lopez with 3 on the shot clock. Baseline jump shot is way short. Mitchell blocked again by Reichart. It's knocked out of bounds off of Brisbane, so it's going to stay with Rockhampton. Christian Lamb checks in for Princeton onwards with about a minute to go.
Wow, 3 of 23, brutal three-point shooting tonight from the Caps.
Rockhampton has 8 offensive rebounds. Second chance points are 8 for Rockhampton as well.
Well, it's always the way, if you live and die by the sword, they're always susceptible to having these kind of nights.
Lopez, top of the key, 3, that's off. Nearly stolen there by Wagner, went out of bounds. Don't know why the shot clock went off there. Definitely was, hit the rim at one point.
Yeah.
So we got about 40 seconds to go here. Lamb is wide open in the corner. His three-pointer is good. Christian Lamb, he can shoot the pill.
Well,
Cuts the lead to 11.
It was just a defensive breakdown from Rocky then in their zone. There's 3 guys guarding no one, and they just made a nice extra pass.
Well, it's much better ball movement from Brisbane, but if Rocky lose, they can't look back and say, with all respect, the Christian Lambs and the Seb Windsors, if those guys beat you, Rocky going to be pissed, surely. So they've got to stay locked in on everybody here, but especially those guys that may not have been at the top of the scouting report.
Brisbane going to hold for the final shot. Lamb again from the corner. That one's too strong. Wagner defensive rebound. Mitchell flips up a three-quarter court shot that hits the backboard. But heading into halftime, fellas, it's an 11-point deficit for the Brisbane Capitals, 48-37. You couldn't ask for a better half if you're a Rockhampton fan. Capitals have a lot of work to do to get back into this one, but I thought they did a good job in the back half of that second quarter, getting it down to 11.
Well, they did a good job probably towards the middle of the Johnny, I thought, and then again Rocky reclaimed their ascendancy, I think, in the game. So really good game, and primed for a great second half.
We're going to take a break. We'll come back with some statistics and the second half of action. It's 48-37. Rockhampton leads Brisbane at the half of your QBL Quarterfinal, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back with you at NAB Stadium in Auchenflower. It's halftime, 48-37 the lead for Rockhampton over Brisbane. Dave, I know you were looking at the stats all halftime. What are the stats telling you?
Well, it's a really interesting stat line, actually. So just some key themes. Brisbane, 4 of 24, 17% from the three, which obviously is poor. Only 3 free throws attempted, but they don't attempt a huge amount of free throws, so that's kind of par for the course. 10 steals has obviously been good. You know, that's generally around the top of that defense with the Anderson and the Windsors and Kopsikas putting heat on the ball, which is good for them. But really, almost is their only offensive guy right now. Anderson's quiet. He needs some more opportunities. Only shooting 2 of 5. Probably being a bit too passive in that first half. And then for the Rockets, you know, like we talked about, Rashad's a beast. He's 6 of 7. He's unstoppable around the rim. I think they need to keep on feeding him, getting him the ball. Plus 21 on the glass, rebounding advantage for Rockets. So you kind of wonder how they're not up 20 or 30, but they have thrown it away 12 times already. So really interesting stat lines that paint a pretty interesting picture here for the third quarter, Thunder.
Well, I'd be really worried if I was Rocky that Hassan's 6 of 7, because I'd be saying, why has he only got 7 shots? If the dude's 6 of 7, he should be 6 of 14. They need to feed him.
Yeah.
Because obviously, every time we've seen him, he's shot 80% from the field. But well, I don't know. It's a great half from Rocky. But Brisbane 4 of 24 from the 3. I just can't see them shooting that badly. Even if they get smashed on the rebound count, I just expect them, for some reason, you get the feeling they're going to come out and start knocking down shots, and they'll find a way to get a win, even if it's only marginally. But in saying that, Rocky can't have done anything better than what they've done so far.
Taking a quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard at the half. It's the first quarter. It's 29-12 the lead for Mackay over Logan. At the half between Townsville and Southwest, Southwest trailing by 17. They're down by 49-32. And then at the half of the third quarterfinal matchup, it's all tied at 40 between Cairns and the USC Rip. So, guys, we knew it was going to be a pretty tight quarterfinals and final series. It's pretty tight across the board there outside of that Townsville Southwest game. And Mackay Logan's still early, but it's a 17-point lead for Mackay.
Well, I think everybody in the state's been talking about the pool system, the top 8, how's it best going to work. It's pretty unique that you go to a top 8 and every team in the 8 is competitive with each other. And here we have an 8 versus 1 lead at the halftime break. You go up north and the top teams are crushing, but it's a great final series we've got ahead of us for sure.
Well, that's a great sign for Brisbane also, as Aaron Anderson hits a 3, cuts the deficit to 8. Came off again, dribble penetration though, Dave, as there's Hassan answering on the other end with another strong lay-in.
Well, he's now 7 of 8 from the field. They have got to find a way for him to take 23 shots tonight. Every time he gets it, he looks so good.
Onwis rattles home a 3. They struggled from beyond the arc in the first half. They've hit their first 2 to start the second.
Well, it's important for Rocky not to panic. Brisbane are going to find a way to make shots. They've got to stay with it, but at the same time, you've got to make those contested shots for Brizzy. You can't let Onwis and Anderson get in a rhythm, because the crowd here is ready to explode. You can hear how loud it is already compared to the first half.
Yeah, and equally defensively, you know, again, you want to win the third as a big quarter, as Lopez misses, but Hassan does his thing. Another offensive rebound and opportunity for 2 free throws. But again, you want to, if I'm Coach Tweedy, you definitely want to win the third quarter, Johnny, because you know you're up 8 or 9, let's say, and then if you're Brisbane, you've looked at the whole game and you've trailed the whole game, and that takes a bit of energy out of you. So I think really the message for them, for Coach Tweedy, is we don't want to be up 4 or 3 or 2. We really want to be up 9 or 10 and build even a psychological small lead. Gives the guys some belief that they can go get it done in the fourth quarter.
Well, they call the third quarter the championship quarter at the moment. It's a pretty tight one, actually. Brisbane started that hot, but Rockhampton has responded pretty well. They're back up by 9.
And Rocky going to stay in this zone, and I'm having a guess that Coach Tweedy is saying, with our size, Wagner, Hassan, we're too big to match up in man. Too easy to get beat off the dribble, so we're going to go zone and try and play to our strengths. But that also plays to Brisbane's offensive strengths. This is going to be a real interesting matchup to see which side of the ball wins out if Rocky going to persist with his own defense tonight.
Well, Rocky has to take better care of the ball. That's another turnover for Rockhampton. Rijkaard steps into a three. It's too strong, though. And then Kopskas picks up a silly foul there, contesting the defensive rebound. That's his third personal.
Yeah, as you say, Johnny, that is a bit just ill-disciplined. Doesn't do anything other than get the Rockets a couple fouls closer to the bonus.
And it gives Kopskas his third foul as well early in the third quarter. And he's never going to be the leading scorer in a playoff game for Brisbane, but he is a very important piece to what they do. So if he gets another foul here in the next few minutes, he's got 4. That's trouble for the Capitals.
Well, and then Jake Davis on the bench, he's already got 3 too. Has been a complete non-factor.
Well, it's the second week in a row for him. It's been a while since
Jake. There's 4.
Well, there you go. It's exactly what we were just saying, fellas. And that foul's a tough one. You got Fowler, who's been killing it all night. That's hard to contain. And that one in itself, you understand, but that's why the dumb fouls like we saw a possession ago come back to haunt you in a playoff game. He's now got to sit for quite a while. Yeah,
Kopskas picked up his 4th. It's also the 3rd team foul for Brisbane 2 minutes into the second half.
Well, it's kind of interesting too, but as much as that sounds like it's a negative, you get Lammy coming in, who's been playing really good of late. He's a good individual defender, and he can shoot the 3 okay. So it's not like they're losing a great deal.
Well, I think if you're going to win a championship as Lamb gets a nice look from Dusty, who does work on the glass like he's been doing for 20 years, it seems. If you're going to win a title, you need a lot of contributors. It can't be 1 or 2 studs. So if Brisbane are going to win tonight or any other week, they're going to need the Lambs and these guys to step up at some point. And given foul trouble, and Jake last week we saw get into foul trouble and not be a factor, tonight's the same thing. Well, Lamb, you got to step up if we're going to get a win. So it's a good test for him.
And, you know, I think that was really poor awareness defensively from Rockhampton. You just can't let the high post flash in. Like, there was no physicality, no denial. Lamb just walked in, got a little 8-footer untouched. No one even closed him out, and Dusty hits the glass. I mean, that's just unacceptable if you want to try and win.
Well, if you're going to let Lamb or Wins or whoever they put at the high post get those shots, that's cool, as long as you make sure that the main guys, Onwurst, Dusty, even Zach Carter to a lower extent, don't get a chance to go and get an offensive board on the same possession. Let Lamb open, but lock in on the other guys, and they failed to do either.
Hassan missed a layup attempt on the other end. Lamb has it now for Brisbane. They work it around to Anderson, dumps it off for Rijkaard. Layup is good. Lead is cut to 5.
Brisbane's ball movement's looking much better to start this game, or excuse me, start this half. And if I'm Rocky, I'm going to try and make it much harder for Brisbane just to pass it wherever they want.
Onwurst comes up with the steal, goes right at the defense, lays it in, plus the foul. Onwurst is jacked up, the crowd is into it, and the lead is cut to 3.
Good timeout from Rocky.
Coach Tweedy is going to take a timeout, so we'll take one as well. 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. It's a 3-point game between the Rockhampton Rockets and the Brisbane Capitals in your QBL Quarterfinal, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back with you at NAB Stadium in Auchenflower. Princeton Onwurst at the line for a 3-point play. He misses the free throw, so it's a 3-point lead with under 7 to go in the third quarter.
Yeah, well, a +8 quarter to start with Johnny in this third here, which is a great start with exactly what the Caps wanted. Good timeout from Rockhampton. They just need to calm down.
Good defense from Brisbane. Lopez uses the pump fake. Wing 3 is up. It rolls in and out. Anderson tips it. Mitchell comes down with it. Dumps it in for Hassan, who lays it in.
Wow, just a number of great passes. Firstly, great pass Fowler to Lopez. Nice patience on the pump fake as almost flew by. And then Mitchell found Hassan again.
Guys, this is one of the highest quality games we've seen all year.
Yeah.
This is a great game. Anderson's three is good. It's a 2-point game now. Rockhampton up 56-54.
Rockhampton have to find a way to stop Brisbane from passing it so easily, and it sounds simple. Get in the passing lanes. If Brisbane drop it into the corner, don't let it come back out so easy. But Brisbane at the moment are passing it wherever they want to, and they're getting, as a result, whatever shot they want.
Fowler hit a three on the other end. Now it's a 5-point lead back up again for Rockhampton. Onwes, three-pointer is short. Tipped around, Hassan comes down with it. Now Fowler puts his jets on and settles things down. Mitchell, alley-oop pass to Wagner, uses the pump fake.
That's
a good
Mitchell,
fake.
just playmaker the last couple of possessions, getting his bigs involved. He gets no stats, and in fact, it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't give him an assist on the last one, since Hassan kind of shot faked and then he might not have got any love, but forget the box score, he's having a major impact.
Yeah, James Mitchell, captain of the Cairns Marlins championship winning squad last year, moved on to Rockhampton for some more opportunities, and he's really thriving. He shouldered a lot of the load earlier in the season for Rockhampton. Now he's got some guys to run with, and they're back in the finals.
Well, he's one of those guys that, you know, he does everything you're after. I mean, as far as with my coaching hat on, you know, Jimmy Mitchell is one of the first guys I'm picking. He's fantastic.
Well, Dusty Reichart shows off his skills. A nice creative pass there from Christian Lamb to Dusty Reichart to lay it in. Cuts the lead to 4, and Reichardt's going to go to the free throw line for a shot.
And the reason that we're on the high media profile salaries that we're on is to make the difficult comments sometimes. And of course you want to be fair to everybody, but Rockhampton cannot expect to go on the road and win a finals game if you're going to get Christian Lamb, catcher at the high post, open jump shot, ones you will penetrate, give it to Dusty for a layup. He's doing whatever he wants from that spot. And if Rocky are for real, they need to find a way to shut him out of this offense, because so far Christian Lamb's come off the bench. If Kopsikas and Davis aren't in foul trouble, he might not even play, fellas.
Yeah.
But at the moment, he is crushing Rockhampton.
It's tipped around. Rockhampton recovers with 5 on the shot clock. Lopez puts up a 3. It's off. Reichart has it now. They could tie with a three-pointer here. That's Dusty Reichart. Top of the key 3 is short. And Hassan comes down with it. I think the roof would have blown off this place if Reichart hit that 3.
Yeah, and this is where, again, for Rockhampton, surely that's a foul.
Hassan at the bucket, hits the bucket plus the foul. Gives us the flex.
I'm glad they got that call for Rocky, because I just reckon that they're starting to play, like we saw in the second quarter, into Brisbane's type of pace of the game. The tempo, like any team that plays against this Brisbane high-energy offensive system, the tempo's got to be with Rocky tonight. I reckon that's, to sound like a broken record, a 12, 13, 14-second offense almost every time. And when they play quick, even if you get to the line or get to the paint like Mitchell did on the last possession, it plays into Brisbane's style. So the foul shot obviously stops the clock and helps them get set. But if I'm Rocky, I want to slow this game down and grind it out like they did so well in the first half.
And they don't go very deep, Rockhampton, either, so you got to manage those minutes as well. You see the guys kind of breathing heavy.
Well, and that's where you can, it's not fake at all. They're playing really well, but you got to be able to have something in the tank in the fourth quarter. And if they play this up-tempo style, that's going to be pretty difficult for them to do.
Nice skip pass. Fowler uses the pump fake. Finds a cutting Mitchell behind him. Hassan wasn't ready for it. It was a good look there by James Mitchell.
Well, it was a great look from Fowler. An even better look from Mitchell. And you've got to say, big guy, get your mitts up. Finish off my assist. But again, this set now, this is where I want to see Fowler and Hassan take over a little bit more offensively. They need to be the main guys shooting the ball, and Mitchell can equally play his facilitating role. especially if they're going to give Lopez and Wagner a bit of a spell.
Well, Rocky went on a run in the first half and played amazingly well.
Dusty Reichart three-pointer is good.
Brisbane have now gone on a run. We've got a tied game pretty much, 13 minutes left. Now it's a matter of it's finals basketball at its best. Who's going to execute the best? And that's the challenge for both these teams, and from what we've seen so far tonight.
Great pump fake. Hassan gets it on the baseline, blocked by Lamb.
That's another interesting no call.
I thought Princeton almost gave up a foul.
Yeah.
Nothing was
Brisbane
called.
could take the lead here, fellas. It'll be the first one of the night if they can. Onwis wing three is up. It's short, and then it goes out of bounds. So,
but equally too, you know, you want to get the ball in Hassad's hand if you're a Rocky fan, but go at Onwis with 3 fouls. You know, he'll either let you go, or you're going to draw the 4th foul and then put one of Brisbane's key guys on the bench.
Fowler dumps it off. Corrigan fouled from behind by Dusty Reichart. That's Reichardt's second personal. Brisbane in the penalty. Oleknowitz going to check into the game for Dusty Reichart. It's a 25-15 third quarter here for the Capitals. Trevor Corrigan at the line for 2 shots, hits the first. Missed the second, so 2 points, the lead for Rockhampton.
Well, they're still going to sit in this zone with a couple of the key guys for the Caps out now.
Anderson from the free throw line is
short. I think they might switch it up a little bit.
How much do you think that is the depth and having to have that bit of energy in the 4th? Well, Mitchell recovers it for Rockhampton.
Mitchell saved it. Wow. That's unbelievable. Sorry for the listeners. That's an unbelievable play. He saved the day. A turnover, I was about to say, at this stage of the quarter, turnovers kill Rocky, and they had a bad one, and Mitchell somehow found a way to save it. Then, even more amazingly, found a way to get that bucket to go again with no call, a lot of contact.
I like it because it was just all will, Thunder. That's what it was.
Well, it's just a guy that has won titles, that knows how to win on the road in the playoffs, getting it done. And
well, there's 4.
And Onwis fouls Fowler. That's going to be Princeton Onwis's 4th personal foul. He's got 4. Kopskas has 4. The sub is a little too late. Carter and Windsor check in for Onwis and Lamb.
And it's a big opportunity for Rockhampton. You're up 4 points. There's 2 minutes to close the quarter. It's a really important 2 minutes, obviously, for both teams, like it always is. But like Zach Carter can shoot the ball, Jake Davis can shoot the ball, but neither of those guys have been a factor at all tonight so far. So they've got to really lock in Aaron Anderson and make sure that while Dusty's out, while Princeton's got 4 fouls, that they make sure that they don't let these other guys for Brisbane get on a run, because they've got a chance to finish this quarter really well while Brisbane struggle to find where their offense is going to come from.
Kopskas checks in for Anderson.
Yeah, and again, Thunder, I think to your point, this is where it's playoff time, and you need to coach on the fly. So I'm looking to go straight at Kopskas, and I want to get Hassad the ball offensively. I mean, he's got 4 fouls, just check back in.
Well, there's no one out there that can guard Hassan at the moment. It's just not possible.
And equally, if I'm Tweedy, I'm putting Wagner back in maybe as well.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I definitely would. And if I'm Brisbane, the question for anyone watching is, where is your offense going to come from? Jake Davis is more than capable, but he's, for 2 weeks in a row, been in foul trouble and hasn't really been a factor. We said Zach Carter hasn't been a factor tonight. Kopsikas has 4 fouls. Windsor, Ollie, these other guys aren't known scorers. Where's your offense going to come from here? So here's 2 minutes for Rocky to really lock in and say, we've got a massive opportunity to go into the break with a double-figure league if they manage this clock properly.
68-62 the lead for Rockhampton. Mitchell in the corner.
Anderson for Brisbane has 11 points and 0 fouls. I know he needs a break, but it's playoff time, baby. He has got to be on the floor right now for Brisbane.
That's a Tough bucket there from Fowler, increasing the lead to 8. Kick ball there by Mitchell. Coach Tarrant with the good reaction there, saving himself from the Falcon. And I'm with you, fellas. If I'm the Capitals, Aaron Anderson doesn't see the bench tonight,
well,
especially at this point.
The only reason almost came off is because he just picked up 4. And I was going to say, Dusty, you had a drink of water. Get back in the game. I mean, this is for all the marbles. Hey.
Well, Anderson as well should be checking back in. They've got 2 possessions left in the quarter and down 8 points. They're 2 massive possessions, and they need those guys on the floor.
There's Hassan. Baseline jump shot is short. Windsor comes down with the defensive rebound, and we're under a minute to go. It's an 8-point game, 70-62 for Rockhampton. Kopska's deep 3 is short. It's tipped around. Aleknowitz comes up with it and misses the layup.
You know, I know they haven't shot the ball that well, but that's actually by design. I've watched the last few minutes in particular, and Rocky's basically daring them to shoot the 3. They're getting a reasonable handout on the closeout.
Lopez 3 is off. There's Carter with the box out. Got about a second and a half between the game and the shot clock here.
8 of 33 from 3-point land for the Capitals, which is slowly on the improve, statistically speaking.
Windsor, layup attempt, rattles home. That's the lead to 6.
That's a massive bucket.
Fowler puts up a 3. It banks in to beat the buzzer. That's a huge bucket. You're talking about a big one there from Windsor. How about the 3-pointer there from Fowler to end the quarter?
Yeah. It's a massive, Windsor's bucket is huge for the Capitals, but we always talk about how you close out quarters, and we've seen a number of times on our broadcast this year the momentum that gives you, especially on the road. The crowd's pumped. It's a 6-point game. We're back in it. Oh, damn, Fowler's hit a 3. The crowd's silent.
Yeah.
That was a huge bucket there.
Especially with some foul trouble. I mean, I think, you know, Brisbane's probably sitting in there, and guys are starting. The other thing with foul trouble is people start individually thinking a little bit about themselves more than the team, and they're like, oh, well, when am I going to get back in, and what am I going to do when I get in there, versus what the team needs from me. And so you've got guys in foul trouble. The reason why Fowler could get to the 3-point line is because Kopskas had to let him go because he had silly fouls.
Well, it is a bit of foul trouble. At the end of the day, it's the end of the third quarter, and Rockhampton heads into the stretch run up 9, 73-64. We'll take a break. We'll come back with the final quarter of action on Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back with you here at NAB Stadium in Auckland Flower. It's the fourth quarter. The top seed, Brisbane Capitals, trail the number 8 seed, Rockhampton, 73-64. We're underway, guys. It was a frantic third quarter, Dave. The stats, what are they telling you?
Yeah, not similar themes to halftime, Johnny. Rockhampton lost that quarter by 3, which is not ideal, but Brisbane were up, I think, a 16-6 first few minutes, so it was a really good comeback from Rockhampton to steer the ship. And they got a couple of Capital guys in foul trouble, so they're probably feeling pretty good about themselves.
Bloody kids.
Ball rolls out onto the floor, so we got to take a timeout.
Yeah, but for the Capitals, again, you know, Anderson's got 11, Onwis with 21, and Dusty with a pretty quiet 23. Raucous fans here.
Lamb's going to inbound it from the sideline here. 73-64, the lead for Rockhampton. Kopskas steps into a 3. That's good from Anthony Kopskas. It's a big bucket there. It's his first one of the night. Cuts the lead to 6.
Yeah, he has got eight helpers though, Johnny. So he certainly is helping facilitate the Caps offense.
Mitchell attacking that closeout. Picks up the foul on Christian Lamb. His second personal, the first of the quarter here for Brisbane. Lopez on the wing now. Back over to Fowler. It's tipped by Kopskis out of bounds. There's 8 seconds to go on the shot clock for Rockhampton. Fowler's gonna fire a deep 3. That rattles in.
Fowler.
He's got 26.
Massive bucket
to lead all scorers. Carter in the corner, his three-pointer is too strong. It's tipped there by Mitchell to Hassan.
Yeah, quiet night for Carter. 1 of 8 so far for the Caps leader. Geez, Wagner's spending a lot of time on the bench.
Mitchell goes inside to Hassan. Good defense there by Reichart. Lopez uses the pump fake, finds Corrigan on the baseline. There's a lot of contact.
That's a horrible call. That is a horrible call.
Look, Dusty's a very good defender.
He did it.
But
he got away with one.
Call,
he got away with one against Hassard on this end, which is maybe 50-50. No worries. Physical game, cool. The other end, other side. Sorry, it's just a bad call.
Well, the only reason the call gets made on that possession there is because he puts his shoulder right into his chest.
I thought he took a charge with his shoulder, Dusty.
Yeah.
I think the only reason the call got made is because everyone knows who Dusty Reichart is, and I'm not sure everyone knows who Corrigan is.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference.
Absolutely.
Onwis tips it out to Kopskis.
Anyway, Rocky have to obviously, stating the obvious, fellas, but Rocky have to stay locked in here defensively because they've been doing a great job all night, but Kopskis can't quite go back-to-back with the 3-ball, but they can't give up open looks like that and hope they miss. They've got to keep forcing Brisbane into these difficult shots.
Well, it's a nice little script here, boys, because Anderson's coming back in. They're down, whatever that is, 9. Can he lead the Capitals to the victory?
Quick check of the Adtown scoreboard. Mackay up by 7, 49-42 over Logan. Townsville all over Southwest, 67-51 in the third. And Marlins up on the rib, 65-54. Mitchell.
That's
Mitchell's fouled there by Princeton Onwis. That's his 5th one.
Well,
he's done for the night.
If you're looking at the game, you go, that's right, no layups. Make him earn it. But Princeton Onwis is done, fellas, and that with 7 minutes to go down 9, that's trouble for the Capitals. That's massive. He's been really good tonight.
He's going to finish the night with 21 points, the second leading scorer for the Capitals. That's a huge loss with 7:41 to go in the game. The team down 9.
And I know you're underestimating the trouble, Thunder.
Well, I'm not underestimating at all.
Wow.
I'm just trying to stay neutral.
Wow.
That's an enormous out for Brisbane. And like if he lets Mitchell lay it up, he'll probably cop an earful from the sideline because that's just the intensity that they play with. But he's got to know his value and be aware that with 4 fouls, mate, give the layup up because down the other end you'll more than make up for it just by being on the floor. So now we need Zach Carter, who's gone 1 for 10 or whatever he's gone tonight. He now plays an essential role along with Anderson and Reichart. But like we just saw, it's a good shot. Anderson has got to get going here tonight.
Carter steals the rebound. Anderson, another jump shot. This time it's good.
I love the mid-range one dribble pull-up. It's not taught a great deal here in Australia, but he never looks like missing anything in that mid-range.
Good look inside. Hassan puts it down with one hand. James Mitchell is showing off his passing skills tonight, boys. He's dropping dimes all over the place.
Well, Anderson has to go and really take over, and Coach Tarrant's called a timeout because he desperately needs it to have a think about his strategy moving forward.
Yeah, well, we'll take a timeout as well. 7 minutes to go. The Capitals trail by 11, 80-69. In your QBL quarterfinal presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back with you at NAB Stadium in Alkenflower. 7 minutes to go in the game. The number 8 seed Rockhampton up 11 over the number 1 seed Brisbane Capitals. Here's still more zone from Rockhampton. Kopskis leaves his feet. Carter, corner 3 is short. Anthony Kopskis offensive rebound. Carter finds it, puts it in. Cuts the lead to 9.
Well, they just look like they're doing it tough though, don't they, Johnny? Offensively, they're not in a good groove tonight. I know they haven't hit shots, but equally, it just looks like they're not moving the ball as well as they can in that little penetrate and kick style, or their flex action.
But equally, fellas, as Mitchell continues to step up, equally, I was about to say they're only down 9 points, so even though they have struggled and offensively they haven't looked as good as they usually do, they're only down 3 possessions. And if Anderson gets hot, which you would expect him to at some stage, and here he comes, it's still anyone's game. So Rocky's got to be really careful not to get lulled into a false sense of security here. Princeton's out, we're up 9, cool. Let's stop playing the way we've been playing, but this game is far from over.
Yeah.
Anderson hit the 3, cuts the lead to 8. Rockhampton being patient here. Hassan misses the jump shot. Kopskis comes down with it. Didn't think that was a great shot there from Hassan.
No, I have to agree. Dusty's been on fire. Misses an open 3 on the wing.
That's a big bucket there for him.
Again, Rocky also, you know, like we've talked a little bit about tonight, go and burn the clock. Because I can go and get something with Hassad or Wagner in the block with 3 or 4 seconds to go and continue to fatigue the Brisbane team, which has been good for them so far tonight. So again, keep going to the well until it doesn't work anymore. And I mean, you know, Hassan's been terrific. 10 of 14, 12 rebounds as well. Couple helpers.
That's just what he does, Dave. I don't think it's not him stepping up. That's just him being him.
Yeah. Well, if that's Kopsik, he's done, no, Zach Carter's going to get that
Going
one.
to be on Carter. That's his second personal, the 3rd team foul for Brisbane. 5:20 to go in the game. 8-point lead for Rockhampton over Brisbane.
And I'd be looking for post touches for Wagner here in this set. I think he's been really good presence for them and a real good target offensively.
Well, and he passes well out of the post. He's shown that as well.
Fowler has it with 3 on the shot clock. Lopez is going to have to fire a deep 3. It's up. It's way off. That's a shot clock violation.
Poor old Lopez, his shooting percentage tonight's going to cop a hammering. He's taken about 5 2-second shot clock jumpers from deep.
He doesn't mind. I think a couple weeks ago when they beat Brisbane, I think he was 7 of 13 from deep or something like that.
Well, better defensive effort from Brisbane, though, on that last set, I think, again, to force the shot clock violation. Carter from 3.
That's way deep there for Zach Carter. He's trying to shoot himself into the game, but that's not a great shot, fellas.
Well, I think, again, for Brisbane's offense, I'd like to see, Reichert get more touches in that short corner action.
There's Wagner getting the deep seal, lays it in, and Coach Tarrant going to take a timeout as well.
Zach is every possession. I know he begs for love from us pre-game, but stop talking to the refs and just D up. Like, he's struggling tonight. He's got to find a way to make an impact. The jump shot's not there, and defensively, Wagner's having his way. This is where you need your leaders and your veterans to step up. 10 points, not great, but 4 minutes, that's a heap of time, guys. There's plenty of possessions left, but they need to stay locked in, Brisbane, here and figure out what to do. But it's got to come through Anderson and Reichert, obviously. Those are the guys that are going to carry the load. And I think for Rocky, they've got to feel pretty comfortable that the guys making the decisions, Fowler and Mitchell, are really calm heads, very experienced, and they're finding ways to get their main guys looks, whether it's that themselves or Hassan and Wagner down low, and obviously Lopez, who stays ready to shoot. So got a good 4 minutes coming up.
What do you think Coach Tarrant's talking in this timeout here? Is he drawing something up, or is he just saying, guys, we got 4.5 to go here. We worked so hard to get to this point. We need to step up, or we're going home for the summer.
I would love to have a roaming mic in his timeouts, because I don't know if they ever draw up a different look, but I think he just preaches. I'm purely speculating, I'm guessing, but I think he preaches the same thing over and over again, which is what they do well. I reckon he's down there saying, fellas, play hard on D, move the ball, and be ready to shoot, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Hornet is back. The ring walk song every week, I love it.
Kopskis turns it over out of the timeout. Definitely not what Coach Tarrant was after.
For anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, this is Jeff Horn's ring walk song. The Horn Pacquiao rematch is coming, fellas, but we'll ignore that while we're hooping.
Travel there by Wagner. He had good position, had a good opportunity, but just took one step too many.
Yeah, it was. It was a good call.
Lamb going to get a breather. Davis going to check in for Brisbane. It's a 10-point lead for Rockhampton over Brisbane, 84-74. 4:14 to go in the game.
Fellas, as a basketball fan and someone who lives in Brisbane and sees GBL ball on a Wednesday night, and
there's Davis
there's
for
one.
three.
I was about to say, Jake Davis has been a non-factor for 2 weeks, but he's really talented, and I just hope he finds a way to step up and make an impact here. And on song,
He really
There he
willed.
goes.
He really willed that one in, didn't he, Thunder? Because it didn't look good off the hand.
no, it didn't. That's a really soft foul. Considering how much contact's been going tonight, that's a really soft call.
Yeah.
Dusty is getting all the love from the officials. I think his parents tuning in from overseas, probably his whole family. Shout out to Dusty. He's been such a great player for so long, and he's earned the love of the officials. But Jake Davis, his back-to-back.
Too strong.
Can't get it to go.
Offensive rebound, puts it back in, cuts the lead back to 5 with 3:30.
Well, on cue, Thunder, he does what he does best. Whatever's required for the team's success. Big offensive rebound.
There's the double. Pass is stolen by Anderson. He's going to have the
They
layup.
need a timeout.
Puts it in, and Coach Tweedy takes the timeout. The lead is cut to 3. 3:25 to go in the game, guys. We'll take a break as well. Rockhampton up 84-81 over the Brisbane Capitals on your QBL Quarterfinal, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back with you here at NAB Stadium in Augenflower. We've got a barn burner. It's 84-81, number 8 seed Rockhampton over the number 1 seed Brisbane Capitals. 3:25 to go in the game, Dave.
Well, I think you know the Rockhampton guys need to make an adjustment too. Brisbane likes doubling the block or doubling the post entry, so a couple times they've made a weak pass out of it, and you can just simply kick it back out and get a repost or that weak side screen action.
Lopez, his three-pointer is way short. Anderson comes down with it.
We were talking about it in the timeout, Dave. If my 8-year-old daughter ran onto the floor to the post, Brisbane would double team her. That's just what they do. They double everyone.
Davis, three-pointer, ties it up at 84. And we're under 3 minutes to go. Jake Davis has found his shot at the right time, boys.
So Rocky, I think, have got to start Hassan on the wing or start him opposite. Back pick him, cross pick him in, get him onto the post on the move. You can't just go one pass entry because you'll get doubled, which takes away their strength.
Mitchell gets it to fall through contact.
and one.
win, lose or draw, just as a basketball supporter of the QBL, I'm really happy to see Jake Davis stepping up when it counts here.
Dusty Reichard answers at the other end. We're going back and forth, boys. 2:15 to go in the game. We're tied at 86.
Well, it's good to see. This is when, you know, one of the guys is going to step up and lead their team.
Hassan skips it to Lopez, who skips it back to Fowler.
Nice
Wide
vision.
open three.
Beautiful
Rattles
vision.
home there for Fowler. Under 2 to go. Rockhampton's up by that three-pointer.
Rockhampton are not an 8 seed.
No.
This is a great game, fellas.
Anderson comes back with the ball. They work it around to Reichard. He'll fire for 3. That's off.
is a big possession.
This is a huge possession here. A minute 30 to go in the game. Rockhampton up 3. Fowler, good pump fake. It's a long 2. It's too strong.
I think they could get a better look than that.
Well,
yeah.
I would have expected Rocky to try and get something at the rim. I know they've hit a couple of shots, but they've been so good putting pressure on Brisbane's defense.
Carter going to his left, shoots an air ball.
I think the jump shot lets Brisbane off the hook. I reckon Fowler, Hassan, Mitchell, they got to get some shots. Oh my goodness. The turnovers kill you, but they need shots at the rim, get to the foul line.
That's a tough pass there from Fowler. Cross court, it's a turnover. There's a timeout on the floor. Let's keep it here though, boys. 1:04 to go in the game. Rockhampton, the number 8 seed, up by 3, 89-86. Good timeout taken. Things going to settle down. The crowd's into it, boys. This is going to be a fantastic finish.
Yeah, that's just a crazy turnover with the season on the line. And Fowler's been so good. I don't know why he's throwing a difficult cross-court pass.
The pressure wasn't even that strong, really.
He could have just brought the ball up. I'm with you. But anyway, situation is, and players respond. It'll be interesting to see what they do here. What the Caps are going to come to. We've got crazy fans next to us. Here with you, Johnny?
He's with Regan, actually. that is the truth.
89-86 the lead, though, guys. What is it? Let's look at it from Rockhampton's perspective. What do they need to do to pull off the win?
Well, I think it's gonna be pretty simple action. I mean, Anderson's gonna be the one who's gonna be controlling. You're gonna have, like we say, they don't really change too much. They want their guards to penetrate and pitch. You want the ball in Anderson's hand. Davis has hit a couple, and then Dusty's been a little quiet of late from 3. But if you can keep the action on one side of the floor and look to get Dusty in that short corner action, that'll be the standard Brisbane stuff. But obviously Rocky's looking for a stop, which is what they just got.
I'm shocked that out of a timeout, that's what Brisbane came up with. I'm stunned that that's what they just served up.
That might cost them the season.
Nearly missed the backcourt action there. Crowd's calling for it. The referees don't give it to him. 40 seconds to go.
I think they want an on-ball. Rocky, you look equally as shaky. It just shows, guys, the pressure of these moments.
Oh, Mitchell!
The pressure of these moments gets to everybody except Mitchell. That is a veteran who knows how to win.
Hits the 3. They're up 6. Brisbane nearly turns it over. They've got to get a good shot off here. Anderson out to Carter. Deep 3 is up. It's good for Zach Carter. It's a good time to hit his first one of the night. It's a 3-point lead. Brisbane has to foul, and there it is from Zach Carter on Jack Lopez. 17 seconds to go in the game. 3-point deficit for the Capitals. That's the 4th team foul on Brisbane. They're going to have to foul here again. And Coach Tweedy going to take a timeout, fellas. We'll take one as well. 17 seconds to go in the game. Rockhampton up 3 over the Brisbane Capitals on your QBL Quarterfinal, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back here at NAB Stadium in Auchenflower, 17 seconds to go in the game. The number 8 seed Rockhampton Rockets up 3 over the Brisbane Capitals, the number 1 seed, 92-89. You got to think Brisbane's going to foul here, guys. If you're Brisbane, you want to foul probably Hassan or Wagner. If you're Rockhampton, who do you want the ball in the hands of?
Well, they're going to run something to absolutely get Fowler open, and equally might run some misdirection to give it to Mitchell.
Well, I want Mitchell to get it.
Yeah,
if it's me,
because they're both tough with the ball. They're going to quickly foul. So for Caps fans, they would certainly have a chance still.
Well, there is that quick foul. It went to Fowler. It's called on Anderson. So Chris Fowler is going to go to the free throw line for 2 shots. He's 7 of 10 tonight. He's got 29 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, plus 4 steals. Not a bad stat line for Fowler. Misses the first one, though. If he makes the second, it's a 2-possession game. Makes the second, so lead is 4. Brisbane needs something quick and at the rim. Anderson, though, going to fire a deep 3. That's too strong. Mitchell lets it roll out of bounds. It's Rockhampton ball with 8 seconds to go in a 4-point lead. Foul before the play.
Well, that is the game then. If he's called an unsportsmanlike.
Why is that an unsportsmanlike?
Well, because
I know it's because it's before the ball's inbounded, but that's a smart. Throw it to Regan. He's the man.
Regan, our resident referee, an intentional foul call there.
Yeah, so
at this point in the game, that's a bit rough.
It is definitely a little bit rough in that kind of situation. However, that is the new rule. So it came in around about 2 years ago that any foul that occurs while the ball is out of play, so being passed in from out of bounds, if there is contact that's deemed to be a foul, it is an instant unsportsmanlike foul, no matter what.
Fowler.
Whether it's soft, whether it's hard, it is a foul, and it is unsportsmanlike.
Fowler missed them both, though. So giving Brisbane that slight glimmer of hope here. They still have to foul again. And there's Fowler. They don't foul him. It gets to Lopez, and then Carter picks up the foul.
Well, they've got a foul. Fowler who's just gone 1 of 4. I would have thought he would be the one to grab it. We see people going to the exit here in Auckland Flower, guys. This is, I know there's a lot of talk about the finals format and the pools versus 1 versus 8. But this is where you play so hard all year to get the top seed. It'd be great if we were in America and it was a best of 3 or something, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But 1 game, that's finals basketball, but it looks like it's going to be an upset. And you know the worst thing about this, if Brisbane do lose? All those clowns up in the north, Townsville, Cairns, Rockhampton, the North are going to dominate this year, fellas. We've got to listen to Rod and Van and these guys talk about that all week.
But Rockhampton comes into Brisbane and pulls out the upset victory. The Brisbane Capitals are spending the season, or the rest of the season, I should say, at home. Rockhampton comes in and picks up the huge win, 95-91, to advance to the semifinals. And unfortunately for the Capitals, that's the end of their season. After all that hard work to earn home court advantage, it goes for naught. Credit to the Rockhampton Rockets, guys. They came to play right from the opening tip. They withstood everything Brisbane had, and they leave Brisbane with a 4-point win, 95-91.
Well, certainly, a great game of hoops. Both teams did everything they could in order to win the ball game, and Rocky had enough to hold on. You know, Brisbane will certainly rue some of the fouls and so forth. Yeah, great game of basketball, Thunder.
It was an awesome game, and Rocky deserve all the credit in the world. Obviously not an 8 seed, but obviously not worthy of an 8 seed. They're a very, very good team, as they just showed. And we saw them earlier in the year, and the 2 Americans they've now got, a totally different unit, and they are going to be a force to be reckoned with. But I just feel for Brisbane. I just felt that it was their time, and they're the biggest club in the state, haven't won it in 15 years. 3rd year in a row. They look like they're going to have home court through, or get to the final at least with home court for the 2nd year in a row. I thought it was their time, but unfortunately for them, they couldn't get it done. But it's going to hurt, obviously, but hopefully they wake up in a few days' time and feel like they have had a good season, which is what they've had, and are proud of what they've done. But I know Jeff and these guys are obviously going to be very upset and disappointed, but we now look to Mackay and Cairns and Townsville and Rocky, and it's up for grabs, and the North are proving to be...
Well, Dan, as you say that, looking at the out-of-town scoreboard, Logan has gotten themselves back into the game. They're only down 6 with about 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. How about this comeback, though?
How's my Rip doing?
Heat are down by 2 over Pirates. They were up 17-18 at one point. There's under 2 minutes to go in that game. Townsville's up 84-82. And you look at the other game, it looks like Kansas is going to win that one. They're up by 26 with 3 minutes to go in the game.
Cairns, they know how to get it done in the playoffs. Coach Perlman, underrated. But the South, we're alive, fellas, for a few more minutes at least.
For a few more.
I think just to give the Caps a bit of love for their season as well. Last week we talked them up saying that they made some corrections to some of their personnel, and Almost was a fantastic addition. Reichardt was outstanding, as was Anderson again this season. Got great contributions from Windsor, Kopsakis, Carter and co. So, you know, you certainly feel for them coming in as one of the best teams easily of the season and most consistent. But again, this format, win or go home. They had a couple of guys in foul trouble. They failed to realise. They made a couple of mistakes to get another foul, and that really hurt them in the end.
Yeah, we'll take a look at some final statistics for Rockhampton. Leading the way was Chris Fowler, the point guard. He finished with 30 points, guys. He was 8 of 11 from the field, 6 of 8 from three-point land. He was only 8 of 14 from the free throw line, had 6 rebounds and 5 assists. Had to have been the player of the game for me, Chris Fowler. Then you look at Rashad Hassan, double-double, 23 points, 14 rebounds, also had 4 assists. James Mitchell finished with 18 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, also had 2 steals. All 5 starters in double figures for Rockhampton. They shot 51% from the field, 43% from 3, got to the free throw line 27 times, hit 19 of those, 14 offensive rebounds and 54 in total. They out-rebounded Brisbane by 24, guys, controlling the glass. The only negative, I would say, from their statistics was 21 turnovers. It was a tremendous performance from Rockhampton.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Dan, you don't go into too many games and get 3 points from your bench and win, right? Like so equally, their starting 5 was outstanding tonight. Mitchell was terrific, as was Fowler and Hassan, and they just got a nice balance to them. That's what I like about this group. They don't have the deepest bench, but their starting 5 is terrific. And again, like Cairns last year, you get hot when it matters. And now they're in the semi-finals.
They're definitely a team to be reckoned with, guys. We'll take a look at the Brisbane Capitals. They struggled all night offensively, only shooting 41% from the field. They were 13 of 51 from 3, and they only got to the free throw line 7 times. They did hit 6 of those. Leading the way for Brisbane in potentially his final game in the QBL was Dusty Reichardt. He finishes with 27 points, 3 rebounds, 4 steals. Also at 21 was Princeton Onwis. He only had 6 rebounds. And then Aaron Anderson finished with 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. That's it in double figures. Carter had 7. He was 3 of 13 from the field. Anthony Kopskas had 3 points, 1 of 8 from the field. But, guys, they couldn't get it done on the offensive end. And defensively, Rockhampton was patient, was able to pick them apart. Dan, I want to get your final thoughts before I wrap things up.
I don't want to dissect it too much, and I think Brisbane, let's give them credit. What they've put together over the last 3 years has been really impressive, and if Dusty's done, hopefully he's not. I hope he plays again, but if that's his decision, then there's going to be a real change around here, and who knows what the off-season will bring, whether Anderson's back. Who knows? This could be a totally different group next year, so let's just celebrate what they've achieved over the last few years. But equally, Rockhampton have shown that the regular season is one thing. As long as you give yourself a chance to get into the playoffs, if you have good systems and you've got guys who know how to execute, then you're a chance. And if I look at their roster with Hassan, Fowler, Wagner, and especially Mitchell, who's underrated, they just know how to win games, and they proved it tonight. So they're going to take some beating over the next few weeks, and they're going to go on the road full of confidence next week, wherever it is they end up going.
Dave, your final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Well, I think we all collectively said Brisbane and Mackay were probably the two best teams of the year from what we saw. Brisbane's now no longer, and so the championship race is wide open as far as I'm concerned. And evidenced by Logan's pushing Mackay at the moment up north. So Pirates are up down 3 with 11 seconds to go. So it looks like the Heat will probably get the win up there.
All right, well, if everything holds true, it'll be Mackay hosting Rockhampton and Townsville versus Cairns next weekend. Guys, we do have another broadcast for you, though. Tomorrow, we will be bringing you the women's quarterfinal. It's the Logan Thunder versus the Brisbane Capitals. Don't forget to tune in live on the Basketball Queensland YouTube channel. That's going to wrap things up for us here, though, guys. I want to thank Joel Baker and Regan Baker sharing the production duties tonight. I want to thank Chris Eber on the camera. I got to thank my co-commentators, Dan George and Dave Darwin. And, of course, I got to thank James Bowman down in Sydney from Australia Sports Network for all the graphics, guys. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. It was a huge win for Rockhampton over the Brisbane Capitals. The #1 seed is done in the men's competition. Congratulations to Rockhampton for moving on. I'm John Guana. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to another QBL production of Queensland Basketball League action on Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow, fellas.